You dumb bitch! Fuck you! Fuck you!
You scared now? What happened? It's about you.
Fucking dumb bitch!
Stupid!
Fuck you!
Stupid!
Fuck you!
Stupid! Yeah, triangle Hamas! I
You
love
fucking
Hamas!
dumb bitch!
Yeah! Yeah!
You stupid hoe!
Stupid! Open your window, dummy! Open your window! Now you're scared!
Bro, if you're here for them, stay with them. If you're here for the protest, go to the protest.
Definitely a lot to unpack here, guys. A lot of crazy stuff going on. Before we get into it, I just want to say shout out to the King Squad. I really look forward to seeing what you guys have to say about this. I think this stuff is insane, and it's really just unacceptable. It is just wrong in all aspects. It is just crazy what's going on, guys. But first things first, shout out to the King Squad. Smash the like button, hit subscribe. I appreciate you guys. Hope everybody's having a great and awesome day. We're about to unpack this and break down everything that's going on, and let's get right into the video. Shout out to DigiGal. I believe that's how you pronounce that, Digital Gal. A mob of Hamas-supporting extremists has forcefully seized Trump Tower in New York City, loudly demanding the release of Mohammed Khalil immediately. Not a single one acknowledged the American hostages. Trump plans to enact the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. It's very, very interesting stuff. First things first, I'm glad I'm not in New York. It is a crazy place to be. Trying to read what that banner reads. I can't exactly. Yeah, I really can't exactly see what that banner reads right there. I'm curious as to what that says, but a lot of crazy stuff to unpack. You know, it is pretty crazy. But before we get into it, guys, we're gonna just check out our next video. Shout out to our guy Benny, and I will get my commentary periodically throughout the video, more so on the back end. Let's go.
Trump administration really means it when they say on this program and others, Trump Tower is the victim of a terrorist attack right now by libs who've stormed the tower and are now refusing to leave, desecrating and screeching, screaming, and disrupting. Demonstrators filled the lobby of Trump Tower in New York City after ICE arrests of Columbia University activists and terrorists. Somebody who wants to bring down Western civilization, and he hates America, and you can do that from home. You don't have to do that here. Having a green card is a privilege. Police were staged outside of the Fifth Avenue building ahead of the demonstration, began arresting protesters after warning them to leave. Trump Tower serves the headquarters for the Trump organizations where the president stays when he's in New York. A line of protesters could be seen being led into awaiting NYPD police trucks following the stint. Check this out. They're protesting for a dude who was born in Syria and helped lead protests at Columbia University, violent protests that occupy the entire campus, and these people are occupying all of Trump Tower. Now, I don't understand because I've been to Trump Tower before. There's like very serious security there. So who's like, who exactly let these people in, right? Like they're clearly there to do no good. What's going on, right? And if they're refusing to follow police orders, then yeah, let's please load them up in the trucks and arrest them. And this is clearly something that you're not allowed to do, and they arrested and destroyed the lives of J6ers for much less. Protesters occupying Trump Tower lobby. Protesters held signs saying, "Free Mahmoud, free Palestine." Oh, okay. Same as it's ever been. What's going to go on with these people? I mean, you can see here in the clips. Not allowed to do that. It's private property. Here's the protest filled with a bunch of aging white liberal women, aging white liberal men. Can't differentiate between the two of them. They're the exact same phenotype at that point. Grotesque, sad, smelly protesters that are getting arrested now. I don't know if you can see it. There's some of the arrests. This is happening a lot faster than it happens inside the U.S. Capitol. Goes that Kamala Harris' stepdaughter? Kamala Harris' stepdaughter? Good to see them actually taking it seriously. Let's continue to read. The chief of police, John Schell, said that there were 98 people arrested in 2 hours with no issues. All the protesters have since been removed. The police were seen loading protesters into a big NYPD van while remaining detaining protesters on an MTA bus. They loaded them up in the van. Look at that. Ah, the woke, white, liberal woman. The bane of society.
Literally, though, like the, real enemies of America. Really. It's pretty crazy, actually.
Violent leftists who stormed Trump Tower are getting arrested. NYPD now arresting protesters who took over Trump Tower, F around and find out. They have live shots of the arrests. It's beautiful to see.
And guys, when I say stuff like that too, I'm really coming from a standpoint of like the activism just knows no bounds. Like the delusion is dangerous. That's really what I mean when I, make the kind of comment that I just made. I'm coming from a standpoint of, it is dangerous how poisonous it becomes to others, and it really, it's a delusion that just doesn't stop. It's a poisonous mentality. And it causes things like this. This incites violence. They could have destroyed a whole lot more. Okay, not just disturb the peace and everything like that, and invade, but they could have started a whole riot and everything like that, and then attacking the police. The whole thing could have really escalated. So in this case, shout out to the NYPD in this case that they were able to get this situation under control somewhat from as it seems as of right now. So this is pretty insane. Then again, I really don't expect anything different from the liberals, unfortunately.
At least they're doing something about it. Once again, these people are doing much more than the vast majority of J6ers. Might I argue all of the J6ers because, well, the Trump Tower is a private property. There's a fundamental right to protest your government and grievances. The U.S. Capitol belongs to us, the American people. It's a building that on any day, you walk right into the U.S. Capitol, walk right through the visitor center, you go through a magnometer, you go through the big metal detectors, and you walk right into the U.S. Capitol. You go on a tour, go walk around, right? Go visit your senator, your member of Congress. This is a public, open building, right? And again, on that level, this is worse than January 6th because this is a private building.
Very true indeed. And we definitely need to, make asylums great again as well, because people like this, guys, this is crazy. All right. This is like real insanity.
If you want to split hairs, there's the hair. Dozens, hundreds actually, of Palestinian protesters barged into Trump Tower. I don't think they barged. They had to have been let in. They've got to tighten up security around here. I mean, clearly these people are not do-gooders, right? Ne'er-do-wells, they would call them back where I'm from. Unhinged, pro-Hamas mob stormed Trump Tower. Will anything happen to them? Will there be charges? Very interesting. These people are, of course, following the leader, protesting for a guy who just last week tried to take over a college campus. Right here. There you go. I mean, at least the guy doesn't put a keef on his face. At least he's man enough to, show his face. Good for you, I guess. Yeah. I mean, death to America. The stickers that the guy was slapping on buildings. Death to America.
Yep, that does it. Yep, they got to go. Yep. Make asylums great again. These people got to get locked up. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. Okay, that is just that's some scary stuff. You know, I see stuff like this, and then you see the stuff that, you know, they spew out on liberal left-wing media and all that kind of stuff, and then you see them attacking people and rioting like this. This is dangerous.
America. Right. This is exactly the kind of person that we should have.
Assassination attempts on Trump's life. I mean, the list goes on. You know, both sides have their stuff, but definitely from what I see from the conservatives is like, if the conservatives really don't agree, it's kind of like, okay, well, you know, I just won't watch you. I just disagree with you. Granted, I have seen some interesting things from conservatives as well, but more so but nothing really like what I've seen from these liberals. These liberals they will cancel you. If they can't cancel you and destroy your way of supporting yourself and your family, then they will riot. They will destroy things. They will just try to mask riots as peaceful protests. The whole thing is just nuts. And, you know, the assassination attempts on people's lives, it is crazy. Okay. They wear dog masks. And, I think that, I honestly think these are like Ku Klux Kamala Harris duplicates, and they are all in just a spirit of rebellion and Harley Quinn and the Joker, the way they're operating. It is pretty crazy, and it definitely is dangerous.
Like in our country. No. Now on our program, we recently had Leo Terrell at the DOJ. And I asked him about left-wing terrorism and what would happen. And he said there's going to be people like this are going to be charged, and they're going to feel the full force of the law. And I believe that turnabout's fair play. And they destroyed the lives of J6ers, and they should do the exact same thing to these people. Here's Leo Terrell. They staged a literal insurrection. They charged the White House. They burned down buildings that are on White House property, torched St. John's Church, and then threatened to kill Trump. The whole goal was to kill the president of the United States, and that was their stated goal. Yet there's not a single terrorism charge for any of those protesters, Leo.
Well, you know, go ahead, please, go ahead, because you're absolutely correct.
I find that, not only do I find it egregious, I find it immoral, because what it says is that you can keep doing this.
Well, let's also remember during the summer of 2020 riots, you had Kamala Harris funding a bailout program for criminals. You had a police department in Minnesota burned to the ground and celebrated. And then you had a left-wing media organization, I don't want to mention its name, CNN, claiming that there wasn't a riot and there was burning in the backdrop. This is what the American people did not sign up for during the Biden administration. This is what the American people signed up for by re-electing President Trump as our 47th president. Yep. And I'll tell you right now, you're right. Where are the convictions, the prosecution for those people who committed crimes, who committed violence? Nothing. It wasn't done at all. These people were looking at, to me, they were Democratic constituents. But what I'm telling you, Benny, is simply this. There's a new sheriff in town. He's in the White House, and there's one in the Department of Justice. And this country is yearning for law and order. And one of the reasons why I'm here is because I want to work with Pam Bondi. When President Trump appointed me, I said yes, because country first, not my pocketbook for the elite. And
yeah, so there we have it. Shout out to Benny Johnson, our friend here on this channel. And quite frankly, I honestly think this whole thing is just nuts. It is just insane how far these liberals will go. I think it's very dangerous, and I'm glad the situation was able to, be just reduced within the, at the time being, and really just, put to a halt. But you see this trend where you see these unhinged liberals just losing it and attacking people to get their points across, as if we don't see them exploding and losing their minds and melting down on social media. Okay. All over, platforms like X and YouTube and Rumble, and Instagram. I just think that these people ultimately, they ultimately hate America. I'm convinced. I mean, are you convinced? What do you guys think? Do you think that the liberals ultimately hate America? I'm convinced. I think I just don't think they see the privileges that we have here and the privileges they have here to do stuff like this. you can't go around doing stuff like this all over the place. You know, some places will lock you up, some places will execute you. America, you know, that shows you how much privilege you have in America, because you can get away with stuff like this. And I'm not saying that's the right thing. I'm just saying that they still have their lives and somewhat of their freedoms. So it's kind of weird to me how they're attacking America, you know, and saying and doing these riots when, you know, there's all these. It's just, you know, it's kind of just. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. But then again, it's the party of wokeness. It's the party of anti-common sense. That's exactly why I don't get it, because they're not going to make sense. I really think that they just don't see the benefits that they have here in this country. And if you feel so strongly about it, you know, you should go to the other countries that you're, you know, protesting for and fight there. That's kind of how it strikes me. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. How does this strike you? I look forward to seeing what you guys have to say. Shout out to the King Squad. Smash the like button, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.